Hello, hello, hello. Well, today I am going to be starting my new project. Let me switch to, here we go. Um, Today I'm going to be starting a new project. My plan is to code this entirely on the stream. Which frankly has been a little disappointing to me recently because I've wanted to work on it while I wasn't streaming in my off time when I wasn't able to stream, and I haven't been able to. Um, but I've been staying true, and I haven't really done anything just yet. I've set up a little bit of scaffolding. I've just created a GitHub repo that we're looking at here. So jchadwick/conference manager. So that's the GitHub repo. I've created some package JSON, and I actually just set up some Gherkin features. So I talked about BDD and Gherkin and everything in a couple of streams ago. I kind of walked through setting it up in a project. So I basically did that here. And I started kind of specking stuff out. So the interesting thing about not being able to code like I want to when I'm not streaming is that I instead spend that time basically doing project management type stuff and specking things out. Which are frankly activities that I wouldn't have done otherwise. Probably I would just code, and figure it out from there. So it's funny, the stream is actually kind of forcing me to be a little more disciplined about creating this application. So I'm not really going to go through it, but I did kind of go through all of the features. I kind of stubbed things out. Most of these folders are empty. Let's see, one of them. Yeah, let's see, sessions, submissions. Yeah, so I implemented a couple of them, just very short scenarios that I want to do. So basically, overall, the application that I'm going to be building, quite frankly, it's a competitor to Sessionize. So if you've ever given, let me sessionize.com, if you've ever given a technical presentation at a conference or something, you've probably used Sessionize. They're kind of the leader right now. Quite frankly, we used it for the Tech Bash conference that I organized, and I wasn't happy. There were a lot of problems. So the first 2 or maybe 3 years of Tech Bash, I actually built my own session management and session submission system just out of scratch in .NET. And then we switched over to Sessionize for the last 2 years, I believe, of Tech Bash. And it's really good for allowing speakers to submit their sessions, but it really sucks for actually managing the conference. There was so many features that we just kind of said, I wish Sessionize did this, I wish Sessionize did that. Some people have told me, well, why don't you go and ask for that feature on Sessionize? But frankly, I'm under the impression that, if it's a product like this, that then they should know what I need, right? And otherwise, I'm just going to build my own because I know what I need, and it's fun and it's a good project. So I'm building a Sessionize competitor, basically, and I'm doing it all in the open. So I'm calling it right now, the working name right now is Conference Manager. It's a really boring name, so it'll probably be changed. But you can see all the code. You can see I'm going to try my best to write every single line of code, or at least as close as possible to that on the stream. And so you'll see all the code. So yeah, I mean, basically the idea is you have a site that speakers can submit their sessions on, and the organizers of the event can kind of manage the event details and then choose those sessions, manage the speakers and things like that. And that's what we're going to be building. So that's it. So just to kind of organize my thoughts, I started off by creating a to-do list, basically. And like I said on the repo, these are just kind of the initial set of tasks that I need to do in order to get things going. And then after that, once I get rolling, I'll actually start kind of keeping track of tasks in my issues, in the GitHub issues. But right now, just for the sake of just easily knocking things out, I kind of know the top level things I need to do. And in fact, I've decided that I'm going to use Auth0 for the authentication. So I'm actually not even going to be doing these things. But right now I have nothing. Outside of the Cucumber stuff, the unit test that I have, I'll show you my package, JSON, just to prove it. Outside of the unit test that I have nothing in here. So I'm going to add a SPA, which I'm going to do today. And then I'm going to add an API. I'm probably going to be doing this on AWS just because that's what I know. That's what I've been using at work. Quite frankly, I need to be familiar with this stuff to be able to use it at work. So I'm going to be building all this stuff on AWS. I'll probably be implementing the serverless framework. If you haven't heard about that, serverless framework. It's not an application framework or an application library. It actually is it's a tool, configuration tool to allow you to more easily configure your serverless stuff. So it's for building serverless applications, meaning things that use like Azure functions or Lambda functions and things like that. And it's actually, as you can see here, it has different providers. So this framework can actually be used for Azure or, let's see if we can, what providers do they show? Provider CLI, yeah. So AWS, Azure, Tencent, Google, so a whole bunch of stuff that they actually support using this framework. So basically, you just end up writing some YAML files, some configuration files that tell you how to deploy this, and you can actually have a local running instance. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Right now, that will eventually be where we're going. But right now, I'm just going to start by creating my React application locally. So that's hopefully what I'm going to be doing in this session, at least get it started. So now I just switched over to my codesandbox.io. So this is live, it's public. If you want to go check it out, you can look at this, URL. And you can actually view this code, or fork it if you want to play with it. But basically what I've done here is I've created a wireframe for my application. So technically speaking, it is a React application. It's actually a Next application, but I just use this to more easily and quickly wireframe. So let's see what I've got here. Oops, I refreshed the whole thing. Let's see. Let me just open this in a new tab. So my styling is still a little messed up sometimes for some reason. Not sure exactly why. Sandbox is restarting. So I'm using, for the wireframe and almost certainly for the real site, I'm using Material UI. So you'll see a lot of my components and my layouts and things are made with Material UI core. So there you go. Look, now that I've refreshed it a couple of times. Oh, where is that other one? Now that I've see, the styles are kind of weird. I was having a problem with Next.js and Material UI taking the global styles. So this is what it's supposed to look like. When it refreshes, it did. But this is what it looks like over here. Oh, I'll close this window. Anyway, so the idea here is that when you load up, you have this welcome page, and then you can go to let's see, either speaker dashboard. It takes a little while. It's kind of slow. Like I said, I was playing with Next.js. So for those of you who don't know Next.js, it is a React framework for building applications. So the biggest reason that I was using it was kind of the ease of use for wireframing. Like if you want to make a new page, it has this kind of convention, a lot like Razor Pages or ASPX or something for those of you who are .NET devs. But basically, you know, the URL kind of corresponds to the page over here, or the folder and the default page, or, you know, in this case, index page of that, right? So you basically just, that's how you can do very quick and easy routing. So that's why I chose it for the very least my wireframe. Frankly, as you can tell, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that are kind of looking messed up, and it's very slow. You know, like I click on this link, it's very slow. Now I'm in dev time. You know, dev time is going to be slow. I'm sure once I create the production build, it'll be a lot faster. But I'm more focused on developer productivity right now, and right now this is kind of slowing me down. So I don't know what I'm going to do, quite frankly, for my real application. I don't know if I'm going to, I guess I'm just going to end up using React Router maybe, because ultimately, like I said, the only real reason I'm using Next right now is for the routing, the easy routing. It does have a whole bunch of other benefits, which do sound really cool. Automatic code splitting, server-side rendering, static exporting, you know, all this stuff is very cool, but I don't really need it right now. Maybe I'll switch to it later. I don't know. But anyway, as I've been talking, I've been kind of clicking around. Like I said, the styles are messed up. If I refresh, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But I've got a couple of different wireframes that I've done. So I've got my speaker page. So when you're a speaker, that's not what we're looking at here. What happens if I open this in a new browser window? See, those styles are all messed up. It's very interesting. I'm guessing because if we look at this, where's my layout? This is kind of the layout. This is it's a component, but it's basically the component that every page is wrapped in, right? Like this. So the interesting thing about Next.js is because it does all this automatic stuff, this black box stuff like automatic routing, you can't control the index.html that spits out. It generates it. And so I'm guessing that my styling issues are because I'm doing this kind of global style in this layout, and it like doesn't take effect right or something. I don't know. Frankly, I'm not concerned with it. I'm not going to figure it out because in my application, I'm not going to use Next.js. But anyway, let's see. Did this load up here? Yeah, it's still weird. But anyway, we've got, I'll get out of here, notifications. We've got a sidebar menu that you can kind of minimize, and it screws up the layout apparently. You know, a high level thing, are you a speaker? Are you an organizer? What view are you looking at? So here's my speaker dashboard, right? So when you're a speaker, you're kind of looking at my profile, my submissions, my events, the things that I've submitted to. So my sessions are like sessions that I've submitted. My events are the events that I've submitted to. Integrations are things like integrating it into my blog or Twitter or something like that, right? So this is just a wireframe, so none of this stuff really works. The collapse and expand works. And then you got your view public profile. So this is where when we host speakers, they can actually they can publish their profile, and that's on our site. So we'll eventually be creating a nice kind of public profile page. Organizers, you're managing events, right? So when you switch to the organizer page, you're just kind of a list of your events. I just have one right now. In the wireframe tech bash. Actually, let me go make another one. Just let's see, where are the events? Here's the events, my hard-coded events right here. And we'll create another one for '20. All right, let's go back to this and see. As you can see, I just copied and pasted this this sidebar here. So there's the events. The reason they're all weird is because they're supposed to be showing the start time. Let's see, I can wrap this. Oh my gosh, I'm not sharing my screen. I haven't been sharing my screen this whole time. Okay. Sorry. Welcome. Here we go. Okay. So anyway, what I showed was the GitHub repo, github.com/jchadwick/conference manager. So this is the GitHub repo that you can follow along. This is the to-do list that I mentioned. As I was talking about Next.js, I was bringing up the website. There's not really anything interesting on here. I showed Sessionize, the site that I'm going to be competing with, quite frankly. And then I'm on Code Sandbox. So you can follow all the code and the wireframe and everything that I'm showing on Code Sandbox. So what I've been doing here is I've been trying to show my wireframe. So as an organizer, I can choose an event, right? I have my list of events. If you go back here, very slow. 2018, 2019, right? And I just choose one of my events, go to TechBash 2018, and the URL changes accordingly. Event 1, 2, 3, 4, and come on. Takes forever for Next.js to compile it and load it. And then this is all chopped off, but you should see this breadcrumb and everything. So this is just a wireframe, right? I'm frankly not too worried that it doesn't work, because when it renders correctly, it does work. I'm not sure why it's not, but it will work. But so this is just showing all of my wireframe code in action. So I've got some components here that I've built, some pages here that I've built, some layouts and things like that. So I'm basically going to reproduce all of this locally. Let me just kill all this now, close this, and we'll get started. So I'll go over to my code and conference manager. Let me pull everything down just to make sure I'm up to date. I'll kick it off. All right, so I'm working on the master branch now. Here we go. All right. So I don't really have anything in here, right? I've got Cucumber.js. I've got Cucumber tests. Let me run those real quick. Let me show you what those look like. So in the nature of not writing, or writing as little code as possible, and trying to live stream everything, I have stubbed a bunch of stuff out. So if we go in here, the features and stuff, let's see, what did I look at? I've got the submissions, right? So the ability to create a new submission. As a speaker, I should be able to submit my session to the conference, though the conference organizers can accept it, right? So I've done all this, and I've written some code, some steps here. Some very, very little steps, very, very little code. You can see all the code that I've written in the GitHub repo, but it's very just kind of stubbed out, just kind of making things kind of work, right? And making the tests do something, not completely fail. And so when I run the test, we can see I have a variety of things. I have Cucumber is yelling at me that I have a bunch of things that are undefined, a bunch of steps that are undefined. So we'll go define those. We have a handful of green check marks, things that are working, so that's cool. But for the most part, everything's just kind of stubbed out, right? So eventually we'll go back and do that. But for now, they're just sitting there ready to be used. I also set up TypeScript, so I needed that for this. I stubbed out some pages here, some URLs, just frankly for the features. They refer to this. Let's add a couple more pages here while we're here. Let's say homepage is a slash. Let's say speaker dashboard. Let's say organizer dashboard. Event details, event dashboard. So that's going to be events ID. Just kind of spec that out there. Okay, cool. Now we've added that. Let me just commit that real quick. These don't really mean anything. I'm not using them anywhere. Really just kind of notes. The idea is that you can, as you navigate around the pages in your Gherkin, you can say, go to the speaker dashboard, and it will bring you here. Go to the organizer dashboard. That's what these things are for. Maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't. But anyway, let's get back to, let us create our application. So because I have, I do already have this folder. Let me kill this folder because I was fooling around with it locally. Let me actually kill VS Code. Because I am going to have the UI, the SPA, and the API, and they're going to be serverless functions and things like that, I'm going to have a bunch of working parts. I'm actually going to treat this like a mono repo. And for mono repos, you don't really have a source folder. What's in there? Let's see what's in this folder. Let's clean out this folder. You don't really have a source folder. Instead, for the mono repos, you'll have a packages folder. So you'll have packages, and then under packages, you'll have all of your different modules, all of the things that are in your application. So rather than creating my application, my React application, my UI, my SPA, directly in the root or in the source folder, I'm actually going to jump into this new packages folder and create it there. And I'm going to use create React app. Create React app, and I'm going to use the TypeScript template, and I will call it, what am I going to call it? SPA, UI, admin, app. Call it app. So like I said, we're going to use Lerna. We're going to make it a mono repo, but for right now, I'm just going to do it in place. This is basically just a subfolder. All right, so we're installing, we're waiting for create React app to work. We're installing everything. We're installing. Okay, so then the first thing we're going to need to do in order to migrate our wireframes over, well, the first thing we're going to need to do, we're going to need to install these dependencies. So I'm using Material UI Core, Material UI Icons. I've got a couple of Babel plugins here, basically just to make my Material UI imports better. React, React DOM, and TypeScript. That's about it. So like I said, we're not going to be using Next. Not too happy with my Next experience so far. I'm not really sure I need it, but we are going to need to do some routing. Let's look at that for a minute. So I have used React Router. It's kind of the de facto router. The new router is Reach Router. So it's made by the same guys that made React Router. Let's see, do they talk about it here? Yeah, so this is kind of, it's Ryan Florence, right? He's a big name in the React community. Basically, he talks about the history of Reach Router, which is what we're looking at here. And so basically he says, you know, I made React Router, and pretty much as soon as hooks came along, I wanted to rewrite it. It's basically what this says. So React Router is too big compared to Reach. It's too big. It's too complex. History blocking, React Native support. So Reach Router is meant to be kind of the new one. I've played with it. I haven't done a whole lot with it. Frankly, it didn't really do what I wanted it to do, but maybe I was just using it wrong. So let's take this opportunity to learn, right? Let's learn it here. We'll do we'll use Reach Router to do our routing, and then we'll bring in all of our code. Okay, so our create React application is done. Let's go ahead and open that up. No, I'm going to open it up in the root so we can pull in our TS config and stuff. Let's see what happens. It's probably going to get very upset that it's running in a Let's try and start it. Let's see what happens. So I just ran the start script for this folder for the React app. And looks like it's good. Oops. Looks like it's good. I'm going to move that over to this side. What's going on here? It's taking forever to load up. Oh, it compiled successfully at least, so that's good. Okay, while that's going, what is going on here? Why is it taking forever? It's just a simple React app. So interesting. It's getting hung up in the request. That's so weird. Well, anyway, it figures that out. Let's go ahead and install some stuff. Let's actually kill this job. We'll kill this whole thing over here. All right. All right. So let us install. We will install and save a reference to Material UI Core. Copy that. Material UI. Oh, 1 second. Let me turn off the Slack notifications. Material UI Core, Material UI Icons, and Reach Router. Let's go ahead and install that here. Where is it? Installation. There we go. And it is at Reach Router. So we'll just do that at Reach Router. And what else? We had one more thing over here that I had mentioned. TypeScript, of course, that's already installed. Icons, React. Yeah, everything's good here. Okay, that should be all we need in order to get started. So let's see what happens there. No, that's in the root. Let's go do that in the packages app folder. So we'll install Material UI, Core, Icons, and Reach Router. While that's happening, let me go here and start copying this stuff over. Let's see, can we export this? Export to a zip. So we'll show that in the folder. We will extract this to... Okay, cool. So we've got our components, models. Let's just copy this over. Components, models, pages. Components, models, pages. No? Hello? Copy it over. There we go. Copy folders, please. There we go. Any other config that we need? I don't think so. Let's look at this TS config. Let's open it here, and we'll compare it to this TS config. It should probably be good. Let's allow these. That's already allowed, so we just want to enable experimental decorators. I'm not actually sure if I'm using decorators yet, but I will. It's something that I turn on immediately. Okay, so now we have our pages. Now we got to fix all those references to next, the next link. All right. So what do we want to do here? We've got a couple of different things. So these are going to be references to the reach link, I think. I think we should just be able to replace them. link to / yeah, sure, let's do it. So we will replace all of these references with React Router. Oh boy. Did I have more references here? Next link. No, okay. Any other references to next? Next router. The use router. Okay, interesting. So this was really just kind of a demo. This was to get the event ID. Yeah, I'm just going to remove this for now. We will add that back later. This is just kind of to prove that the routing was working, quite frankly. Same thing here. We don't need this. We will figure out the event name later. And same thing here. Yeah, that was really just to prove that routing was working. So we don't actually need that. We weren't using that. There we go. So we've now removed all next stuff from our application. We still do have these funky folder names. That's how Next does their routing. So we'll fix that later. We don't need to fix that now. Let's see. We got some errors here. Reach router. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, yes. Reach router does not come with TypeScript typings. Because for some reason they don't think that TypeScript was one, even though it has. I think the React team and everyone else needs to just admit that. Flow is great. I got nothing bad to say about it, but TypeScript won. Let's just admit that and move on. Anyway, we'll install the typings and make everything happy. Okay, cool. So we've copied all my wireframes over. How do we use them? Let's see. If I just add this index.js, let's try that. Let's import home page from pages index. Try that. And just return home page. Okay. Formatters. Pick a formatter. There we go. All right, remove the logo. Cool. Now let's see what happens when we run our application. Did we break it? Will it work? More importantly, will those styles be fixed that were all screwed up in the wireframe? Let's see. I think it's probably going to yell at me for using a link outside of a router, probably. That's fine. Let's actually do that. Import router from, well, let's look at what the reach router says, not React router. Let's look at reach router. This is why I didn't like. This is why I didn't like it, because it adds this path. This is how I use it, but it's not really fun with TypeScript. And if the team had embraced TypeScript, then this wouldn't be a problem. That's okay. That's okay. We will deal with this in a little bit. Actually, why is this not loading? This is going to be a real serious problem. So many issues here. That's okay. Okay. While that's loading, let's Google reach router TypeScript. Property path. Yeah, look at that. That's our problem. Okay, so what do they say? Install typings, use a props interface. Ugh. 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 It's fine. Okay. So basically it's saying I need to extend or accept these props here. Let's see. Import reach component props. Yeah, it makes sense, I guess. Whatever. What? This is a generic. Yeah. Well, I don't have any props, so it's just going to be empty. Well, okay, that's fine. Should be a TSX anyway. And import React from React. Okay, did that make it go away? Let's see. It did. Cool. All right. So that should work. Clean this up. Still not loading. So weird. Let's kill this. Kill this. What else do I need to kill in order to make this work? Let's kill all of this. I can hear my machine just spinning. Sounds like it's about to take off. Okay, let's kill. Let's see what's going on in here. Any node? Wonder if I should kill those. I'll leave them. Oh, maybe it's because I was deleting stuff in the background. Let's wait for all this to finish. Huh. Okay. So while we're waiting for that, let me remind you that this feed is new. This stream is new. I just started live coding last month. I'm starting to build my followers. I am up to 23, but I'm looking to get to 50. So I'm trying to hit that by the end of the month. I got 16 days to go. If you're watching, if you appreciate this, if you like what you're seeing, please feel free to follow, or even better, tell your friends about it. Tell them to check it out. Okay, cool. Without opening VS Code, let's just go and see if we can run this with, let's see, code conference manager and packages app npm start. Let's see what happens here. Will it work if I just run it from the command line? This is blowing my mind that it wasn't working before. It should just work. That's what React is supposed to be about, especially Create React app, right? Just get up and going in a minute without any issues. Why is this spinning? This is so bizarre. I feel like maybe I need to restart. Yeah. Okay, failed to compile. That's cool. All right, all right, all right. Whoops, failed to compile. Okay, so let's open this up then. Okay, so it's telling me, oh, how about let's just do this. Let's not import any of that. Let's just say home page equals see if this works. Oh, implicitly has any type. All right, that's fine. Implicit type implicit. So that's a TypeScript issue. I went to my TS config. I wonder which TS config it's looking at. Let's use this one. And let's say, let's turn off strict mode for now. We will say, where? Any, implicit any. False. I am okay with implicit any's. That is fine for now. Okay. Is it a little bit happier? No? Okay. That's going to yell at me for the main menu. That's fine. You know what? Is this all we're talking about here? Link? Oh, this should be link href is link 2. Yep, okay. Let's actually do that globally. Link href equals, and we will say link 2 equals. Fix all those at once. Okay. Cool. You happy now? TypeScript. Let's see. Anybody? Let's kick it again. See. Okay. All must be isolated modules. Sure, that's fine. Why is this not a module? I don't understand what's going on here. Say models, all token TS. What's the problem? This is a module. All files must be modules. Sure. You want me to export something? That'll make it a module. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. Now we got a layout issue. Hey, link 2. Color inherit. Indeed. If that's an issue, then no. Okay. How about this? Before we move this, let's start one at a time. Maybe we jumped in a little bit too much here. Let us create another folder somewhere here. A temp folder. And we'll just move this stuff over here. Let's move those pages, temp folder. Okay. And let's actually just reload the whole damn thing. All right, did we make this happy yet? No, it's still sad. Let's kill it. Let's start it again. Man, what? My PC is just going. 100% CPU. What's taking up so much? Hopefully that's this. This is pretty painful, just getting a Create React app going. It's unfortunate. I was planning on having a lot of stuff done today, but I think the only thing we're going to do is actually just create React app. This is even loading. All right, I'm done fooling around with this. I have no idea what's going on here, so I am simply going to restart. So that happens to be a that happens to be a remote connection, a remote desktop connection that I'm developing on. So my main machine isn't really bogged down. My recording machine and my dev machine can be separate. So while that's restarting, what do we want to talk about? Do we want to recap on something? Trying to figure out if there's anything else I need to talk about the wireframe that I did. Not really. It's just Material UI. I was using Material UI. I was kind of just going along with the docs. I used the templates here. I copied and pasted these. They're a nice little starting point. Yeah, I mean it's very interesting. It's an interesting framework to use. Let's see how we can see if we're ready to connect again. Looks like it's up. All right. Cool. Now for the test. Let's go and see if we can run. Should see hello world. Why? I don't understand why this is taking so long already. I mean, this is a simple hello world app at this point. I really don't understand what's going on. Look at this thing, it's just spinning. This is not a slow machine. It is an original Surface Book, the Surface Book 1, not the recent ones, but still. This is a React app. It's a hello world app. What in the world is going on here? Let me make sure it's not something that I'm in a. Let's get out of here, and let's just run this whole thing again. Create React app demo, and we'll say template TypeScript. I really don't need Docker running, but that's fine. All right, while we're waiting for that, anybody have any questions? Anybody on the stream have any questions? Seems like the feed's been pretty quiet, not a whole lot of chat. Please introduce yourself. I'd love to hear more about you. If you had any questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, please speak up. This is supposed to be interactive. It's also supposed to work when you do a Create React app, but neither of those things is happening right now. So this is going to be an underwhelming feed today, I think. Hopefully my intent is to be back again on Friday, Friday morning. I'm in Eastern time zone. I'm in outside of Philly, PA, Philly, Pennsylvania. And so I'm in the Eastern time zone. So in my late morning, I should be hopping on. Hopefully that's what I'm going to be trying to do on a regular basis. This is taking a little while. I mean, quite frankly, if this doesn't work, I'm probably just going to end the stream because I am getting hungry. And that just means that we're not going to do anything today, and we'll pick this up again on Friday. Cool. Are we almost done here? Maybe it's because I'm using Windows. I don't know. Of course, that's a joke. I have never had these problems with Windows. Okay. All right. Cleaning up. All right, npm start. I'm guessing it got, well, I have to go into the npm start. I'm guessing it got confused because it was inside of another folder, and so it was looking at the top level node modules and stuff. I'll just give it that. If this works, then we're good. So far, same thing. This is going to be a huge bummer if I can't even get a Create React app going. Just spinning. Huh. How incredibly obnoxious. There we go. Okay. Interesting. Maybe I had something cached or something? I don't know. Should have tried that earlier. Okay, so that works. So now let's go. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, that works. Yeah, I guess I had something cached or you know what it was? I had a service worker probably. I was one of my previous streams, if you go back, was I actually implemented service workers, offline stuff, and even though it was a completely different project, this was the domain, right? It was the path. So I probably actually had some stuff in there. So now that I've cleared all the cache and everything and unregistered the service workers, I bet you there were service workers going. Can update on reload there while we're in here. Okay, well, so now we're working. That's good. Let's minimize this. Let's go back. I'm only going to be streaming probably for about 15-20 minutes more, so let's see what we can do in that time. Okay, so I had moved this to the temp folder over here. Let's move it all back, I guess. Why not? Let's just go for it. See what happens. While we're doing that, we can go down here in the terminal. I like to go, actually, let's see, do we have a, I like to add a compile. So this is TSC-P. Let's see, do we have no emit? No emit is true, yeah, so this will just compile. So if I run this compile command, this should compile everything and let me know that everything is all right. So those files that I just copied might have an issue. No, we're all good. Okay, so everything compiles properly, at least everything that TypeScript can see. Oh, no, I didn't want to move those here. I wanted to move those here. Now let's try and compile. Ah, well, this doesn't have. "13 errors." Okay, let's see. Let's fix these errors. All right, we just fixed that one. All right, let's move these out. Let's move these over here. Okay, so I just moved those potentially breaking pages. Update imports, sure. I just made those. Whoa, no, don't do that. Nope, I don't want to add those to TypeScript. Okay. All right, so that's good. So now, are we working over here? Let's do localhost 3000. Hello world, that's good. Okay, so we're back in business. So now let's import homepage from pages index. here. I'm actually probably going to kill this and run it again in VS Code. All right, so this slowness is why I had, let me open up my code sandbox again and I'll walk you through it. This is an interesting thing. So I am working with Material UI. If you look at all the Material UI docs, they tell you to import all of your components and icons and everything directly. So let me show you an example. So they tell you to do everything like this, right? I like to do things like this. I like to combine all of my Material UI imports into one line and then kind of destructure, right? And so they don't like that, and their library is not really, it doesn't respond to this very well because of the way they manage references and everything. So the other import that I have in here, the dependency that I have in here, is this Babel plugin transform imports. And basically what that does is at runtime, it turns this line into two different lines. Import tab from Material UI Core, import tabs from Material UI Core. And it does it for you, right? So it's kind of after the fact. I'm going to go ahead and install that in my new project. I'm going to kill this. Oh, did this work? Let's see. Yeah, cool. Look at that. It worked. I'm going to kill that. Close this whole window. All right, I'm going to npmi, and it's in development time dependency, so I'll install it to development packages, dev dependencies. And then I forget how to do a Babel config. Let's see, create React app Babel config. I think you just make a Babel RC. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Oh, medium with your paywalls. Create a config overrides file. Okay. Well, let's go to the create React app documentation. Rather than reading from a secondary source, let's look at create React app. And user guide. Docs. Man, that was a lot of clicks. Folder structure, development, advanced usage, advanced configuration. Let's look at alternatives to ejecting. Let's see, can we search in here for Babel RC? Anything with Babel? No? Great. This is just, That, actually, while I'm here, let's look at this. Okay. Can do that later. Interesting. So, let's go back here, because the docs apparently don't show it how to do it. All right. Yeah, I think I just want a Babel RC. Yeah, here. This is it. That's all I needed. Just what you would expect. Okay, so let's add this here. .Babel RC and plugins. The plugin was, let's go over here and look at this Babel RC. Let's try that. All right, now we'll start the app. See what happens. So it should go quicker. The whole compilation and everything should go quicker. The compilation, the reloading, everything should go a lot quicker. Let's see, while that's going, is there anything else I want to look at? I don't think so. No, it's still pretty slow, man. Maybe I just need to upgrade my machine. Maybe it's about time. Okay, cool. I'm not sure that was any faster, but at least it worked, so that's a good thing. All right, let's fix this before we go any further. Okay, so these, when I said the layout, if we look at the layout, remember I said I was having a problem with the CSS baseline and style and everything. So this style, now that I have it, can go into a true style sheet rather than trying to inject it in a React component, which is always kind of weird. So we have the app.css. We can delete all of this stuff because this was for the boilerplate that was in there. We can actually just do index.css because it is very generic stuff. So really all this was trying to do is say take up the whole screen, right? That's all I'm trying to do here. Take up the whole screen. Okay, it's doing that. All right, and now if we save all this, we don't need to do any of that. Okay. Now this should be taking up. This should be growing is the problem. Why is this not growing? Something is still wrong here. So if we look at this, the root should be the full screen. It is. This guy is not the full screen. So what is this guy? This is an app router. Maybe the router is getting in the way. Let's see, router or home page. Maybe the CSS baseline is getting in the way. Nope. Where is this coming from? Tab index. Where is that coming from? It has to be coming from the router. Let's see what happens when I... Yeah, interesting. So that's obnoxious. Once again, I don't like reach router. It's adding an unnecessary div in there and screwing up my layout, but whatever. Let's work around that. We can style the div now that we know about it. Role, group, style, outline. What options do we have here on this thing? Can we set a style? Yeah, okay, let's go ahead and set a style. Flex, grow, 1. How about that? No? Did it work? It did. Display flex. Okay. Display flex and flex grow is 1. Right, because it needs to flex inside as well. Flex direction is column. Okay, there we go. All right, so that is good. We've got our layouts. We actually got a bunch of stuff in there. We got an index page. We got a layout. All of these components, my old components, are actually compiling, it looks like. Let's just go through. Yeah. I'll just remove all of these unused references. What else do we have here? Secondary menu has that. What was our other problem that we had? Page header box is defined but never used. Cool. All right, so I've cleaned up all of our issues. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and commit this, push it, and end for now. And I will pick this up on Friday. Thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to a whole lot, but we will move a lot faster once we get all this groundwork in place. All right, thanks a lot. Until next time, see ya.